evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight at Brigham and Women's Hospital, we will be honoring the Doctor of the Year. Fun fact, as of yesterday, she has delivered her 1,000th baby. Please welcome Dr. Raylene Mercedes.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I often get asked questions like, Dr. Mercedes, what did you do to become so successful? How did you get to where you are today? And honestly, to answer these questions, I would have to go back to the beginning. When I was younger, I had a lot of different ideas about what I wanted to be when I grew up. I went from a firefighter to a teacher to a veterinarian, but none of those occupations really stuck with me. When I was in 8th grade, I started thinking about how cool it would be if I could become a doctor. I thought about how I could get to help people and heal them through challenging times. Don't get me wrong, this was also around the same time where I started watching Grey's Anatomy, and that was really the only thing on my mind. But while watching the show, a fascination grew inside of me. I'm not saying that the show is the only thing that led to me being a doctor, but it certainly added to it. I did research about the different kinds of doctors and what they did, and finally I found one that I absolutely loved. In class one day, the teacher was asking about what everybody wanted to be when they grew up. I finally said the words out loud. I want to be an obstetrician gynecologist. The whole class turned and looked at me like that was crazy, and half of them did not know what that meant. I kind of felt embarrassed by my response, but when I went back home and told my parents what had happened, they said I can do whatever I set my mind to. So from then on, I knew what I needed to work towards. In my sophomore year of high school, I took a biomedical class and fell in love. My teacher also happened to be an OBGYN, so I was always in awe of him. My junior year, I decided to do a program called dual enrollment, where I would go to Valencia College while I was attending high school. This was perfect for me, as it would help me get my associate's degree by the time I graduated high school, and knock 2 years off of my education plan. There were many times where I was uncertain about my education or when I thought I was not going to succeed, but the dual enrollment advisors were able to keep me on the right path and kept me from losing my mind. Becoming a doctor, of course, is not easy and it takes a lot of time and training. I constantly heard people saying, that's too much work, do you really want to be in school for that long? But those comments only made me want to work harder. One of the class requirements at Valencia was to take a class called New Student Experience. I didn't really think anything of the class, but it turned out to help me a lot with planning my education. One assignment asked me to create a purpose statement. I sat and thought hard about what my purpose in life was and what I wanted to achieve. I decided that my purpose statement was to help others feel comfortable and open around me through friendliness and including them when they feel out of place, to show them to be confident in themselves and not worry about what other people think. Being a doctor, you need your patients to feel comfortable around you so you can do your job and help get them what they need. I value confidence and I want to be able to help others reach a point where they are content with themselves and do not seek validation from anyone else. When I finally discovered myself and separated myself from what I thought others wanted me to be, I felt unstoppable. It propelled me to work even harder and to be on top of my game. As it is common knowledge, being a doctor is not for everyone. In high school, I knew it would be the greatest challenge of my life. However, I love a challenge. As Cardi B once said, I like proving people wrong. I do what they say I can. My whole life, I couldn't stick to one sport or hobby, but school was just something I was always good at. I took pride in being at the top of my class because I knew how hard I worked for it. When I graduated high school, I had the honor of obtaining my associate's degree by the age of 18. I did a phlebotomy program at the Osceola Technical College and got a certification for phlebotomy. After I graduated, I went on to the University of Central Florida for 2 years to get my bachelor's degree, and there I majored in biology. I got accepted into medical school, and it took 4 years to get my medical degree. This was also the most challenging part of my career. After I did about 2 years of residency and passed the exam, now here I am. Becoming a doctor is notoriously expensive, and I did have my fair share of student loans. In the end, it cost around $500,000 to get to where I am today, but it is worth it. Luckily, I have been able to pay them all off. I delivered my 1,000th baby yesterday, and I'm just over the moon. My job is full of meeting new women and helping them with their reproductive systems. I follow them through their pregnancies and deliver their children. I follow up with the mom and baby postpartum to make sure that everything is where it needs to be. Of course, I do have to deal with things that are not as beautiful. I've lost babies and mothers, and it does take a toll. But I remember the big picture, and that is just part of my job. It took so much work and dedication, but when I was in that new student experience class, I had the pleasure of speaking with Nurse Katie, who was a nurse and medical administrator for an OBGYN. She told me two very important things that stuck with me forever. One, she said, when times get tough, I have to remember why I'm doing it. Two, she said that I will have to work with a team and everyone is crucial. So if one person doesn't do their job, it can mess everyone up. Learning to work with the team is so important because they can catch you when they fall and vice versa. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life, and all of the trials and tribulations that have led up to this point made it worth it. I want to thank everyone who believed in me and supported me when times were tough. I also want to thank those who didn't think I could do it and said I was crazy for dreaming too large. I have never been the type of person to settle. If there's a message that I could send out to viewers, it would be to dream big, and if I could do it, you most certainly can too. I finally want to thank my younger self for setting my mind to such an amazing goal, sticking to it, and believing in myself. Thank you all for listening to me ramble about myself, but if I inspire just one person out there, then my words were worth it. Thank you.